Hello and welcome back to my series where I'm working through the challenges in my book, The C Sharp Player's Guide. We are now to, I think, the seventh challenge in the final battle set of challenges. We're making a very substantial little JRPG combat simulator, and in this, like we've done the thing where we now can have characters that can fight each other. It's all computer controlled right now, so it's basically a zero-player game at the moment, but it's all the battle actually happens and we can have a winner and a loser. This challenge is going to expect us to make it turn it into a series. That is, when the heroes win one round, one phase, defeats one party of enemy monsters, then there's another and another and another behind that, and it isn't supposed to go indefinitely, but there's in this case we're going to end up with two, one with one skeleton and one with two skeletons. And so we're still just have the one type of monster, just skeletons, but we're going to have the ability to fight for the heroes to fight multiple sets, multiple enemy parties in series. If the heroes ever lose to any of the parties, then the game should end there. If the heroes defeat a party, then it should advance to the next one until there's no more parties left. So we're going to have to modify our code to be able to handle multiple multiple parties of monsters. So let's start thinking through how we could do this. We haven't dealt with these attacks in a while, so I'm going to kind of collapse some of that. We also haven't dealt with these, so I'm going to collapse those. Same with these characters. I'm just kind of getting some of this stuff a little bit out of our way. So what we need is, we already have one party for the heroes and we have one party for the monsters, and this battle has the heroes and the monsters. And I kind of like how this is set up, where this is like the current party for the heroes and the current party for the monsters. But I'm wondering, like, somehow we need multiple in here. And the first thought that comes to my mind is, what if we just pass in multiple monster parties, and then we just keep track of the current one. So like we could do something like we could do something like, maybe we rename this. We just have like a private and just something like that. So we just save off all of them, and then instead of this being that, what we would do here is we would also add in a private so we start at round zero. Yes, it's round zero. And then this would just return something like that. So we just pass in, when we're creating the battle, we just say, look, here's all of the future, everything that we've got going on, and we're just gonna give you every single party that the heroes will have to defeat. There is a downside to that, and that is that we have to determine everything for the entire game all up front. And let's suppose that we had this thing where there were, I don't know, 1,000 parties. We would have to instantiate every single one of them. The alternative is, maybe we either, instead of providing an array of parties, we provide a different object that is able to create the different parties by request. So you might have I don't know, some other object who's responsible for giving you the next party. And I think that's then you could maybe have that thing, like read the parties from like a file or something like that, so you can modify this really easily by just going in to like a text file and just reading in all the monsters. I don't think that like I actually there's a lot that I like about that design, but I also feel like given the size of the parties that we're doing, I don't know that we need to go that far. So that could be like an expansion that we could do in the future, but for what we're doing right now, it isn't strictly necessary. So I actually kind of like this approach of we're just gonna start here, and the like this again, this is it shows the value of properties. We just changed how monsters works in very substantial ways, and none of our code is broken, with the one exception of the thing that says you're expecting an array of monsters, and we only gave you one. So that right there is the only thing that actually broke. Everything else was assuming that the that monsters is the current monsters. So like we're actually super close to having this just work. The catch here being um, that like we do need to rework kind of our win and loss conditions here and see if we can come up with some better way to uh, like we need to if the basically if the heroes have lost, then we do need to just be done and say they lost. Otherwise, we want to advance to the we want to increment this current round to the next one, assuming there is more there. So we need to deal with that. That's going to mean reworking some of the logic in, well, really in kind of this and maybe a little bit of this and some of this too. So let's start working through that. This is one of those places where I'd say make a copy or commit if you're using version control, so that if you make a mistake, it's easy to roll back, because we're about to make some pretty aggressive changes here. So let's see. Let's. I'm trying to think what the best way to do this is. Maybe we can just start really simple. So we'll just make some little properties here. Private bool is hero party eliminated. And we can say heroes.characters.any, kind of like what we had on the line above. If there are no hero characters left, then so let's see, is hero party eliminated? So now we have an is. So we could, at this point we could almost replace. We can maybe rework this code in a second here, but let's just stick with the one thing. Is hero party eliminated? We return if if heroes.characters.any, and then negate that. So basically, if there's none, and we can do a similar one for is monster party eliminated. So now we have two little properties that are for that. And actually, like I say, I think we can say, I think we can change this now to is hero party eliminated, or is monster party eliminated. And then maybe what we can do here is we can have a private bool is all monster parties eliminated. And then here we would say something like is monster party eliminated and current round equals all monsters dot length -1. So if we're on the last round, if the current monster party has been eliminated, in fact, let's rename that. Is current monster party eliminated? Which maybe means this is battle over. Should be is round over. I like that. So I'm changing names here to kind of make things make a little more sense to me. So now I've got these properties. We haven't really changed any actual functionality, but now I've got these little building blocks that I feel like are correct. And now I can use these elsewhere in here too. So so right here, for example, we can say if are all monster parties eliminated. So now this will now use this instead of just checking if we defeated one. And then here we can say if is hero party eliminated, break. So if we can do that, yeah, we can do that in both places. If is hero party eliminated, break. So now, if the hero party is eliminated, we're just done. If is current monster party eliminated, and then we'll continue, but we'll do current round plus plus. So this will start the loop over again and give the heroes a chance to go first. And that same logic goes down here too. Now, there's a question here, like we got duplication. Can we eliminate that? The way we've got this set up, that might be a little tough to remove that duplication just because this continue is associated with this loop. We did, like some of this logic we did pull out. It's now down here. So, but we can go a step further here too. If all monster parties eliminated, break. If are all monster parties eliminated, break. So I feel like I've got better building blocks here now that I've made those, so I can come up with this. But again, it does bother me a little bit how now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines that are like exactly duplicated. We can shorten this a little bit. So if is hero party eliminated or are all monster parties eliminated, and now we can just shrink that. That doesn't really change the fundamental problem here. My fundamental concern that's duplicate code. And do I have something that is? I do. Is round over. Let's use that one. Is round over. I'm trying to think of a good way to easily just like do that. But like I said, given that this break and this continue, they're tightly tied to this while loop. And I like there isn't a way to like put like the normal way to get rid of duplication is to just make a method, right? Or maybe a class. But the normal way is to like put this in another context. The problem is to do like either that break or that continue. We need this context. We need to know about this while loop. So I mean, we could make a method that returns whether we should break, continue, or break out of the loop, continue to the next iteration, or just keep running. We could make a method that has like a return type that's one of those three things, and then we could just check and say, call it here and call it here and say if it returns break, then break. If it returns continue, then continue. If otherwise, do nothing. Except like that code is basically the same code here. So I'm not the way things are set up. I'm not sure there's a good way um, to get rid of that duplication. Other than maybe if we, I don't think I'm going to do this as I'm thinking about it, but I did just have a thought, and that is that this is like run forever. If we said, I mean, like, I think I'm gonna undo this, but I'm just gonna say, party. Um, we could do this as a loop and then just say, run party. I don't know what goes there. I mean, we don't have access to that, but and then if is round over break, if is current monster party eliminated, like move that logic up into here, current round plus plus, continue, and like that. So again, I don't love this, but I'm gonna explore it for the sake of convincing myself that what I'm gonna leave it at is really the best thing, and also B, to kind of illustrate just kind of the trade-offs here and just kind of walking through it. We do need the right player, and we have that. But so like we need not just of the party, but like the player. So what if we made this not just a party, but a tuple of a player party tuple, and I'm not sure I love that always wraps things. It's more often a problem when I've got the text scaled up as much as I do. Normally, it doesn't come up as much. Um, and now, anyway, so now I can do tuple deconstruction and just unpack it. And now I got my player here. So that mechanically is working. It compiles. The catch is this break and this continue are now for this when we were expecting this. But we have eliminated the duplication. That is what we were going for. There is a way to handle this, and that is let's see. I know we can make this work. I'm just trying to think what it is. Like this continue, we actually like these are now associated with this new for each loop we added in here. We really want it to be out here. And I mean, we could use gasp go tos. Like that would allow us to get out of here. But this is one of those things, by the way. The Java programming language, which is very similar to C Sharp, one of the they it's interesting for goto they reserved the keyword and then they said we are never going to implement this. um I think I don't know what decision, like I don't know what the process was on that. But maybe they thought we don't know that we don't think we want to implement this, but we want to preserve the ability to add it later if there's really a compelling need for it. C Sharp said, you know what? It's a tool. We're going to give you the tool. C++ said we're giving you this tool. Shoot yourself in the foot with it if you want. But like we could do, so this would be go to start of loop. Don't do what I'm doing here. This is not a good. There are occasional super duper rare usages where go to can be the right thing. They are extremely rare, and you should do everything you can to avoid it. Um, Anyway, but so if I have this go to, then I can do this. Now, what I was going to say about Java when I started talking about this, they don't have go to, but they do have the ability to label a loop, and then when you say break, or I think continue. It's been long enough since I've done Java, but um, I think with both break and continue, you have the ability to like say instead of just break semicolon or go to or continue semicolon, you can say break and then the label of the loop. So you could in Java you could do something like outer, and then down in here you can say break outer. And I like it for all practical purposes is a go to. Um, it's just a lot more constrained and controlled. I mean, for that matter, an if statement and a loop, all of those are go to, just way more constrained, and so they're easier to think about and reason about. But anyway, so this like could work. Now we've got go to kind of jump in relation to this while loop instead of this inner loop. But I do think that I don't know why I'm pursuing this so much. It really probably doesn't. I mean, that little bit of duplication is probably not going to be the end of the world. But so yeah, let's not do any go tos. But what I'm thinking is that if we want to get out of this loop entirely, like we could do put this in a separate method, and now this one that was supposed to break out of this while loop, we can just say return. Poof. So if is round over, then except that's not quite right either, is it? We want so we don't actually want that. We want I got a logic bug in here. If um, if is hero party eliminated, or is are all monster parties eliminated, return. So now this will say leave this loop. So now this return escapes not just this for each loop and not just this while loop, but this method, which for what it's worth, that's those two are equivalent. So this allows it to jump all the way back out to here and then display the game result. So like that's a possibility. And now this continue, this continue actually becomes a break. So now this would allow us to break out of this loop, which allows us to basically continue the next cycle here. So there, we did it we eliminated the duplication, and we did it without go-tos in a rather tricky situation. Having said that, a lot of this stuff is just, there's a lot of complexity here too. And for every guideline, there, let's see, hang on, let me just finish undoing this and then I'll say my thing. For every guideline, there are exceptions. There is really nothing out there that is 100% unequivocally true. There's just things that have increasing or decreasing probability of being good generalized rules. So the go-to thing to just avoid it, it's a pretty good generalized rule. But I've seen just a couple of places where I thought, you know what, the alternative code here would have been either really, really awful code anyway, or might have killed performance in a super performance critical section of code where go-tos are really quite fast. So something like go to, something like remove duplication, those are fantastic rules, and you usually should go out of your way to make sure that they happen. But then there's exceptions to it, and I think given how long I expect to maintain this program for, I actually think I'm okay with having this little bit of duplication here. Like to me, this is still like I can see the symmetry here, and maybe we can do something like this that kind of reinforces that structure just a little bit. Yeah, so um, I might be okay living with this. Like I said, we did work through other scenarios, including a go-to scenario and including pulling it into a separate method scenario. And I think if you would prefer those approaches, you can. I would discourage the go-to, even though that wasn't the worst go-to I've ever seen. But I would still generally discourage that. Once go-to is in there, it's very hard to like understand mentally what's going on, and it gets harder and harder as the code evolves, and it's harder to like pull it out. The separate method call thing where we just returned and we could change the container to a break worked, I think, a whole lot better. So I think you could do that, but I think that thing makes a whole lot more sense if, let's suppose, we ended up supporting three-way battles, four-way battles, where you got four people who are each, fighting, and in that case, like to do this times three or four, especially where it's like it could be a two team battle or could be three or four, where you'd have to add in if statements on all these. If you got three teams, then do this. If you got four teams, then do this. That gets really, really ugly really quickly. So I think if you were going to have a three-party battle, you would definitely want to go with like a loop-based approach instead of just like essentially having an unrolled loop here where we just got the two things written out directly. But all right, we spent way too much time on this, analyzing all sorts of details. We do need to fix this one thing where we need to supply all the parties. New party. So we could do it that way. That's a really simple approach. We're making a separate variable for each of these and then packing it into an array when we call this. We could have alternatively just done something like this. I don't know if this is strictly better. We don't end up with those little temporary variables. We just have one variable to hold them all. And I like that code too. I think that's pretty good code. So let's test this now and see. Now we've got two parties. We haven't tested this at all yet. So let's stop this here. Let's see. We should have one skeleton here. So we got we used punch. It's skeleton's turn. So right now it looks like we do have just a single skeleton. And the skeleton's at 1, skeleton's at 0. Oh, great. Nope. Bug. So it told us we lost when the skeleton was defeated. I'm sure that's just some logic bug here in Yeah, it's this. I, yeah, somewhere in my and here's the reason why you want to remove duplication is I've got the same bug in two places here. So maybe I should have done it that way. Um, so if is hero party eliminated or are all monster parties eliminated? And I guess I thought is round over. Is current monster party eliminated? I'm not sure that this is round over as really the most valuable. Okay, I think this is the right logic now. So if the hero party's eliminated, we know we're done. If all of the monster parties are eliminated, we know we're done. And that break gets us out of this while loop, which gets down to this display game result. If that hasn't happened, but the current monster party has been eliminated, then advance the next round, and in this case we want to start over again. So we always go back up to um, the start. Let's try this one more time. I think we fixed that bug, the logic bug. I think I figured out why that keeps like hanging on me weird. If I come in here and I do, I'm just going to show it. So I stop it like this. I'm just like selecting text to stop it. And then I come in here and I say restart. That I think is the scenario where it's waiting for me to like allow it to resume. And then it shows me killing off the last version of it and starts over. So as long as I don't do that, I shouldn't have that little bug. So skeletons at 1. Skeletons defeated. Oh, let's stop here. Well, a little bit more. Where was that? So the skeleton's been defeated, and now it starts over, and it's RB's turn again. And let's see. And then we get 2 skeletons back to back. So there. So there. Now we've got a little system that allows us to add in as many of these as we want. I do kind of wonder, I mean, like here where we do this, maybe we can do console dot right. It's something in here to say, hey, that they've been defeated. Maybe something like that, except for let's use our colored console and do something. Let's see. Console color dot. I don't know. Maybe we'll just keep using green, or maybe there's like is there a dark green? Slightly de-emphasize it. We'll put that here again. I keep modifying this code. That's the duplicate code, and I keep thinking, man, maybe I really should have. Maybe I really should deal with that duplicated code because, like they said, that is exactly the reason why. That is exactly the reason why you should get rid of duplicate code is because you keep having to modify it, and that is not fun. So let's see. Oh man, now everything's green. Hang on, I want to fix that. That's pretty easy to do, and I think if I just go to this colored console, so one thing I could do is I could say console color previous color equals console dot. So that let's save off the current the color that it has been up until now, and then when we get done, we'll do, hey, it auto suggested it. That's exactly what I want. So we'll make our change, we'll write our text, and then when we're done, we'll put it back the way we found it. So now we have a tool. Oh, great. Let's close this window so I can reset my colored state. Now it should just be that line and it'll reset back to the previous color. So now it stands out a little better when the wave is defeated. So that's the second wave. Now we're on to the third wave. 9, this is getting questionable. Ah. Oh, so sad. Yeah, and you know what? There were still 3 skeletons left. That one wasn't even close. I don't know what their health was, but at least one of them was at 2. All right. We do not need that third battle. Oh, there were 3 left, but I think that means we maybe did eliminate one. We don't need the third battle, so I'm going to remove it for now and just leave it like that. But I think that finishes this particular challenge. And like I said, there's, again, some complexity there with that duplication and kind of reworking the logic here to make things work. Like some of this stuff just takes a little while to sort through. For me though, like building these little properties here that were just very simple little queries to like say, is the round over? Is the hero party eliminated? Gave me higher level building blocks that made it easier to think through. Because I mean, imagine if every single one of these other things up in here, here, like imagine if all of these boiled down to a check that was something like this. That would get really ugly really quickly. So building these like things that are like just this named concept. Is the round over? Is the hero party eliminated? Is the current monster party eliminated? Are all monster parties eliminated? It gave me higher level building blocks that were really easy to just work with. And when there were bugs, because we saw that there were bugs, it was really convenient to be able to just kind of again work. Like I was able to recognize pretty quickly, I think, that, oh hey, that's the part we messed up on at one point. And that whole conversation about duplication, I think we saw a pretty good I don't know, pretty good evidence of why we maybe should have reduced that duplication, eliminated it. So maybe the separate method call could have made sense. Even right now, I could imagine like these two things could be put into a like, and I'd like maybe we'll do that much at least. Advance to next round, and then so that's a little bit shorter. That's a slight improvement, I think. It isn't, like I said, there's still a lot of duplication in here. Like I said, we did come up with a couple of different ways, go to and putting all this in a separate method so we could use return instead of these breaks and a loop. So like there are ways we can eliminate this duplication, given the number of times that we had to keep editing this. Like I said, it might have been a good idea. The advantage to where we're at right now though is it was very fresh in my mind that this code and this code are duplicates. And so I kept remembering every time I make a change here, I got to make a change here. The part where that gets tricky is where it's been a couple of weeks and you're like, hey, I just found this bug and it's right here. And you aren't remembering anymore that this is a duplicate. And so you just change it here. And then a bit later, like, oh man, I also have that bug in this scenario. And that might be another 6 months later before you like, before you realize that, oh wait, I have the same bug. So removing the duplication is like that right there is the main benefit of it, is ensuring that when there is a bug in it or when it needs to change, it may not be a bug. It may just be that we changed our mind about how it should work, that you only have to change it in one place. So anything that is like intentionally following the same logic should generally be collapsed into a single thing. So you only have to change it in one place. I'm I'm gonna I'm gonna not do that here, and may live to regret it. Like I said, I'm already kind of on that fence because we already had reasons why that was not great. But aside from those things, like this, that was basically the only change we made here, and that's not nothing. That getting the ability to like progress and have multiple rounds was pretty substantial anyway. But, okay, I think that is it for this week, and I will see you guys next time.